Turn on my mic. Today's meeting was noticed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. This commission acts in review and recommending capacity for comprehensive plan amendments, text amendments to the Charleston County Zoning and Land Development Regulations Ordinance, rezonings, and plan developments. The commission has decision-making authority on road name change requests, public project reviews, appeals of administrative decisions on final plats and subdivision matters, as well as other matters pursuant to Chapter 29, Title 6, Section 6-29-340 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina as amended. If you wish to speak at today's meeting, please fill out the signed-in sheet by the door. All right. I'm Cindy Floyd. I'm the chair of the commission. To my right, skipping over Mark, we have Pete Pilatus, Luke Morris, have to flip the page, Marlena Davis, and Adam McConnell. To my left, we have David Kent, Warwick Jones, and Susan Cox, and Logan Davis is on his way. Also seated at my right is Commission Attorney Mark Bell, and seated to my left is Joel Evans, Director of Zoning and Planning. Joel, would you please introduce your staff?
Sure. Marche Miller and Wynn Carlisle, Stephanie Ondo, Monica Eustace, and Emily Piggott, and Andrea Melisic is viewing this on YouTube.
I would like to remind you that in order to get a good recording of the meeting for the minutes, please speak loudly and clearly into your microphones, and please do not talk over one another. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from September 9th, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion and a second?
Second.
Okay, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Marlena Davis.
Aye.
Chair Floyd.
I can't recuse myself.
She
I
wasn't
wasn't here. I was absent.
Okay.
Whatever that-
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Kent.
Aye.
Commissioner McConnell.
Aye.
Commissioner Morris.
Aye.
Vice Chair Pilatos.
Aye.
Commissioner Cox. The ayes have it.
The next agenda item is a request to rezone tax map number 215-00-00-014, 3555 Bohicket Road from the agricultural residential AGR zoning districts to the rural agricultural AG8 zoning district.
So this is a request to rezone parcel TMS 215-00-00014 from the AGR zoning district to the AG8 zoning district for landscaping and horticultural use. Prior to 2001, the subject property was zoned rural agricultural AG8. Because the parcel was less than 30 acres in size on April 21st, 1999, the property was placed in the AGR zoning district upon adoption of the 2001 ZLDR. No zoning map amendment requests have been submitted for the subject property prior to this request. Here is the location of the subject property when looking at the county as a whole. The future land use designation of the subject parcel is agricultural residential. And the subject property has frontage along Bohicket Road and contains a single-family residence and 2 storage accessory structures. To the north and south, adjacent properties are zoned AGR and developed with single-family residences are vacant. Properties across Bohicket Road to the west are zoned AGR and contain single-family residences or are vacant, and the parcels to the east are zoned AGR and AG8 with agricultural uses. The subject property located in the flood zone X and shaded X. Here is an aerial view to the north and to the south. These photos are of the subject property, the 014, and the 195 is one of the adjacent parcels. And this has an adjacent parcel, it's 197, and then a parcel across Bohicket from the subject property as well. This slide shows the comparison of allowed land uses in the current AGR zoning district, which allows for 1 dwelling unit per acre, and then also the proposed AG8 zoning district, which allows for 1 dwelling unit per 8 acres. Uses with a C are allowed with conditions. Uses with a S require special exception approval by the BZA. The uses in bold are only allowed in the zoning district for which it's listed under on the slide. And the applicant's proposed landscaping and horticultural use is an allowed use with conditions in the requested AG8 zoning. If the zoning map amendment is approved, all uses allowed within the AG8 zoning district, which would include the landscaping and horticultural services, outdoor recreation and entertainment, an outdoor shooting range, communication towers, etc., would be allowed on the property. The current and requested zoning districts allow for primarily agricultural uses and single-family residences. The requested AG8 zoning district will keep the same dimensional standards with the exception of the minimum lot area and minimum widths. And the requested AG8 zoning district would permit a reduction in density. Therefore, this criterion is met. And then for this criterion, staff found that this request is consistent with the comprehensive plan. And the current and requested zoning districts allow for, oh, I'm sorry, I already read that. Approval criteria C and D are not applicable, and the approval criteria has been met, therefore staff recommends approval. No public input has been received for the request, and the meeting was notified as required.
Any questions from the commission for the staff? Yeah. We will now hear public comments.
Sorry. I gotta make sure I got it right.
Are they out?
Yeah, I'm looking at the case number. Which is the case number for this?
00154.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, we'll hear from Janet Regnier. Did I pronounce that? I hope I pronounced that right.
My name is Janet Regner, and I am here to make public comment about the rezoning of 3555 Bohiggett Road. And as we discussed, and particularly I'm looking up, which you can find on your phones or your laptop, the publication from the United States Department of the Interior for the archaic shell rings of the Southeast and their historical content, the context. So my concern is the effect of the permitted uses allowed under AG8, which do include the horticulture or even like a private airport, which, you know, if the property is ever sold, it's pretty unlimited what could be done under AG8, according to what she just spoke about, that all uses would be allowed. And my concern is the proximity of the parcel being rezoned to Horse Island, which is on the National Register and has been since 1970 because of its shell ring. And it's in that document under archaic shell rings, listed and written by the Department of the Interior. The National Park Service has developed a list of shell ring sites, and there's about 30, maybe more, in the Southeast, in Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Shell rings are the evidence of the first permanent settlements and founded coastal cultural traditions, and they are nationally significant based on their architectural form. You can see a picture of the Horse Island shell ring on page 126 of the publication I just mentioned, and the status of Horse Island as a on the National Register. And the problem is, and my concern is, that I can't find the physical address or the legal description to Horse Island, and it's nearby. It is in Seabrook Island Town, and it's at the bottom of that map underneath the parcel that's being offered for rezoning. And I would like just to be able to locate the legal description and secure where it's located to make sure that there's going to be no ill effects on Horse Island, like maybe now or in the future, and just so everyone is aware that it's there as on the National Register before the final zoning is made.
Okay. I don't think you gave us your address. Could you tell?
Okay, I live at 283 Deer Lane on Fripp Island.
Okay.
And I'm just here as a concerned citizen on behalf of sites on the National Register.
Okay. Do we have any? Well, my question for you would be, what would be the difference between the AGR uses and the AGA uses for your purposes?
Well, I was just concerned, well, this is my first time looking into it, and I realized that there's no legal description. So any new rezoning could affect it. The AG8 allows for, if it's horticulture or maybe nearby, if the other parcels are zoned as well, that could be digging, anything that's dug, or, anything that goes on the property, there's going to be digging. And I just want to make sure we know the boundaries of Horse Island and the shell ring so that that's not disturbed.
Okay. Do we have anything in place to address this?
Well, I just wanted to just relay that if the shell ring that you're describing is on Seabrook Island, this is quite a ways.
Yeah,
away.
and I think it is. The problem is I saw one address that was off of Bohicket Road. So I'm not real sure where it's located. And I know it's not right next to the parcel, but I'm here just to say that, look, it's there, and maybe down the road, other people want other rezoning done, and it gets closer and closer and closer to Horse Island, that it might encroach and cause some problems.
Right.
But if it's in the town of Seabrook?
Yes, it's kind of confusing because I've seen Rockville, I've seen Town of Seabrook. Like I said, I can't find the legal description, and I've pulled some of the deeds or recorded transactions.
Well, I think that, and Emily Piggott, our historic preservation officer, is here, and she can maybe help me answer this, but a lot of times they purposely don't put the exact address of some of these sensitive sites
Right.
so that they are not plundered.
Yes,
Right.
I could see that point, but also, but then if you don't know it's there, something
Yes.
could happen. In that page 126 on that publication I told you about, there's a picture of Horse Island, and there's a picture of the shell ring, and it's shaped like a horseshoe, and there's a big chunk out of it that says it's been borrowed, but shell ring is, by description, at least this one is from, they say, the 1400s of first settlement in the area, and I don't know how you could borrow shell ring and then put it back. So I just want to, just make everyone aware, and as we're, starting to look for rezoning, and just kind of put it out there so everyone can be aware of it. I would like to find the legal description. And I'm going to do my part too. I'm going to go downtown to Charleston and try to pull some old deeds and try to find one.
Okay, why don't you meet with Emily and see if she can help you? Oh, you already
Yeah,
gave it
and
to
it
her.
doesn't have a legal description. It just has reference to other filings, other recorded documents.
The fact that you can't find it might be why it's still protected, right?
Hopefully, unless someone else barred some more.
Okay.
Okay, that's it, unless you
Thank
had more
you.
questions.
Okay. Todd Erickson. Tell us your name and address, please.
Todd Erickson. My address is 1501 Belle Isle Avenue, Mount Pleasant. It's a suite 110. I'm actually counsel for Four Seasons, and Daniel hadn't arrived yet, so I put my name down in case someone needed to speak up for Four Seasons and the rezoning.
You're on.
So, yeah, they're down zoning. The whole point of this is to have less impact on the property, not to build lots of houses and not to do lots of development. Daniel just wants a place where he can run his agricultural business. He's got a landscaping business. He wants as low impact a site as he can possibly have. Gravel roads, not concrete and asphalt.
Are they moving their location?
So they were there and didn't realize that they ought not to be there. And then when the county came in and said, hey, you can't do this here, he's now borrowing a space and parking trucks elsewhere and has had this property now for many, many years. We've been going through this process. Originally, the suggestion was, hey, it should be a planned unit development, and that's a complicated process. So now the plan is pretty simple. Have a place where you can park trucks and trailers and run a landscaping business, dispatch people from that site, and you know, maybe he'll grow over time, offering more agricultural products, but he certainly has no interest in building Daniel Island on this little parcel. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Daniel Borse?
Good afternoon.
Your
Basically
address-
what Todd
your
said.
address?
Sorry, what was that?
Your address?
Oh, I live at 2809 Pottinger Drive. It's a subdevelopment on Maybank on Johns Island. And a couple of years ago, I grew to the size that I needed to buy some land. So the only thing I could find affordable was this lot, which was the smaller lot I bought first. Realized through zoning it was too small. I bought the other piece. And then I had dumpsters out in the front lot for like debris. And that's when county came and said, you know, you can't do that. So then I realized I probably can't operate out of the back either. So like he said, you know, I've been paying to store equipment, trucks at other locations, dumpsters, other sites. And I'm just trying to get it zoned so I can use it. And basically, you know, it's a laydown facility, but also we end up taking out a lot of plant material from properties, you know, perfectly good material that new owners don't want. And I'm tired of the waste, so my plan is to rehab plants, resell them. But then eventually, because AG8, you know, allows it, have native plant nursery. But like he's saying, you know, right now, like the middle of the property, it's already cleared where the owner had a house and some kennels. So that's where the majority of the activity would be. And I'm not trying to develop it. You know, I just want to use it as is, kind of.
Okay.
That's basically it. I don't know if there's any other questions at this moment.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Is there a motion and a second from the commission? The discussion is now closed for the public.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Adam?
Just curious now, I understand that landscaping and agricultural services, I think they call it, or horticultural services is a conditional use. Do we know that he'll meet those conditions that we're getting him the zoning, or is he going to go through a 3-year process to get back to where he actually needs to be again? I just want to make sure that we're doing this, we do it once.
Yeah, the condition is 5 acres, minimum of 5 acres. So this is more than 5 acres, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Logan Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Marlena Davis?
Aye.
Chair Floyd?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones? Commissioner Kent?
Aye.
Commissioner McConnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Morris?
Aye.
Vice Chair Pilatos?
Aye.
Commissioner Cox? The ayes have it.
County Council will hear this request at their public hearing on November 12th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in council chambers, and again at their November 21st, 2024 Planning and Public Works Committee meeting at 5 p.m. The request must then undergo 3 readings for approval at council's discretion. The next agenda item is a request to rezone tax map number 25700-00-033, 2550 and 2554 Bohicket Road from agricultural residential AGR zoning district to the rural agricultural AG8 zoning district. We'll have the staff make a presentation.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Floyd and Commissioners. This is a request to rezone TMS number 257000033 from the agricultural residential zoning district to the rural agricultural AG8 zoning district. And this is the property information. And then the zoning history of the subject property. The church was added to the Register of Historic Places in 1975. And then prior to 2001, the subject property was zoned rural agricultural, AG 8. And then with the adoption of the Zeldar in 2001, the parcel was designated as agricultural residential, AGR, as it was in a settlement area and under 30 acres in size. And here's a map showing the subject property in the county as a whole. This is the future land use of the subject property, which is agricultural residential. And this is a current zoning map. The subject property is developed with the church, fellowship hall, cemetery, a rectory, and a pole barn. To the north and east of the subject property, the adjacent parcel is zoned AG8. And then adjacent parcels to the west and south are zoned AGR. This is the flood zone map, and the subject property is in the X zone. And this is an aerial view to the north and an aerial view to the south. These are site photos, subject property, adjacent property, and then the adjacent property to the west and across the street, across Bohicket from the church. This is the comparison of land uses with the current AGR zoning and then the proposed AG8. The uses in bold in each column are only applied to the zoning of that column and are not available in the other zoning district. For the first rezoning criterion from the Zeldar, consistency with the comprehensive plan, the requested AG8 zoning district would call for lower residential density, so 1 dwelling unit per 8 acres, than the current AGR zoning, which allows 1 dwelling unit per acre. And also the uses for AG8 are consistent with the future land use of the property. These facts make the rezoning request consistent with the comprehensive plan. And for the second criterion, with the uses, density, dimensional standards, and zoning of nearby properties, allowing for consistency with the requested AG8 zoning district, this approval criterion is met. The last two criterion are not applicable. And since the approval criteria have been met, staff recommends approval. No public input has been received, and the case was notified and noticed as required. Do y'all have any questions?
Anybody have any questions? I'm still a little confused about, so there's only one parcel that's being,
Yes, this is one
parcel that's
one
being-
parcel requesting rezoning.
Okay, to match up with another parcel? Or,
Eventually.
Eventually.
oh, okay.
So the property owner's representative has plans on expanding the church with a new fellowship hall, I believe, and parking. And where they're showing the improvements, it has shown straddling the property boundary. So they want all the property to be on the, they want both properties to be on one single same property, but to do that, one of them has to be rezoned because we don't, to drop that property boundary
Okay,
creates a split zoning and the ordinance does not allow that.
okay.
So they own the adjacent property?
Correct.
That's AG8, that's right above it?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we'll hear, thank you for that report. We will hear public comments. Skip Grooms.
I'm Skip Grooms, Johns Island Presbyterian Church, and chair of our steering committee. As it's been noted, we're trying to build a brand-new family life center on our property. And as was said earlier, we would try to get both pieces of property, that this facility with the parking and the building, to be zoned as the same as the larger piece in AG 8. That's our only request.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Speaker? Okay. Dr. Jerry Perkins?
I'm the pastor of the church and just came for moral support with Skip, and we're happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The discussion is now closed to the public. Is there a motion and a second from the commission?
Move to approve.
Okay. Is there any discussion from commission members or any questions for the staff? It's pretty straightforward. If there's no further discussion, it's time for the vote. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Logan Davis?
Aye.
Commissioner Marlena Davis?
Aye.
Chair Floyd?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones? Aye. Commissioner Kent?
Aye.
Commissioner McConnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Morris?
Aye.
Vice Chair Pilatos?
Aye.
Commissioner Cox? Aye. The ayes have it.
Okay. County Council will hear this request at their public hearing on November 12th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in council chambers, and again at their November 21st, 2024 Planning and Public Works Committee meeting at 5 p.m. The request must then undergo 3 readings for approval at council's discretion. Okay. We don't have any other items on the agenda. Does anybody want to bring anything up? Hesitate to ask that.
I got here late. I don't know if there's anything I need to clear up on the record, but
I think you got here for all the votes. So
Okay.
You were good.
thanks.
All right. Okay, if there's no further business, this meeting of the Charleston County Planning Commission stands adjourned. The Planning Commission will hold its next regularly scheduled meeting on Monday, November 18th at 2 p.m. here in council chambers.